And be kind to yourself, but also be willing to do something different. Especially if it's completely opposite of what you've ever learned, right?
Wow.
So this is the concept of trusting, because the intuition can lead you to places that feel scary from a chemical perspective. But now it's the time that you listen to your heart. What does the heart say?
The book The Alchemist talks about it too. He would apologize to his heart, and in the book they say it's the soul of the world and the heart. So Santiago, the main character, would tell his heart, hey, if I ever stray off the path or not listen to you, please don't leave me and remind me.
So this is it's leading to another question, which you also talk about, and I loved your story, intuition. So many people confuse intuition with, well, what is it? Intuition? Is it my gut feeling? Is it my doubt? Because we have like all these centers, and it's almost as if every center has its own little brain. Like your mind has a brain, of course, but sometimes your heart tells you something. And your mind, like with me and dancing, right? I didn't feel like a dancer. But sometimes it's like your gut feeling, like your gut tells you something. And sometimes it's like the lower centers tell you something. But a lot of times people feel like, and then there's also habits. Like habits keep you susceptible to staying in the past because you get addicted to the chemicals that are like, get addicted to the chemical of, I don't know, feeling ease. So when you start deviating from a known path, you start having these chemicals that come up, and like they keep you away from going to something different. But then there is this thing, intuition, and I feel like so many of us have an intuitive guide, but we don't listen to it because sometimes it feels wrong. But you have a good concept that I would like for you to talk about intuition. Can you tell us more?
I remember, if I remember correctly, in that chapter, it was 3 levels of, I guess, intelligence. There's an instinct, and then there's intellect, and then there's intuition. And this is what I learned from Osho, was that the thing lower cannot explain the thing that's higher. So your instinct cannot explain the intellect, but your intellect could explain instinct. So intellect can't really explain intuition. Intuition is something that's higher than the intellect. So sometimes you get these urges or these feelings to do something, and then you try to back it up with logic or reasoning or intellect, and then that kind of destroys it. So for me, intuition is a really strong feeling, or like a pull, or even a push. Like sometimes I see someone and then inside it hurts. It's like, oh no, don't go close to that person. Yeah. And then sometimes it's like, oh, go talk to that person. Yeah. And sometimes this idea pops up and it's like, oh, you have to do that right now. You have to do it. Or you see a place and you say, I have to go there. I have to go to that country, or something like that.
But you make a really distinct delineation. You differentiated, at least from what I remember. You said it's not something that you have been thinking for a while and analyzing for a while. Intuition is almost instant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, kind of like when you're in the shower.
It comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, like when you shower and you get these amazing ideas. I feel that that's the best feeling that is similar. It kind of just comes up. Yeah. when you shower or when you're about to sleep and you're relaxing, and then all of a sudden this thing just pops up, like when you're in the middle of consciousness and about to fall asleep. I think in that area is very close to the feeling of when you're being intuitive. So I talk to my friend and they say, imagine if you could be in that state all the time. You would just be like God mode. So
Right?
yeah. So how about you? How would you explain?
Oof. This is something that I am growing into, but at least for me, and I may be different from other people, I feel that when I have an impulse to do something, I will follow that impulse, especially if it excites me.
Oh yeah.
If I feel
Yeah.
excited about something, I don't care what it is. If I feel excited, I will do it.
Mm.
And the reason is that I was so opposite of that. Completely, I was over analytical
you were
because I
logical,
was an
yeah.
engineer,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
scientist.
Oh.
And so, and that still sometimes creeps in, especially like when you mentioned, sometimes you have this guide that tells you stay away,
Yeah.
right? Stay away from something. Then I'll start analyzing
Yeah.
because of vipassana, especially because of vipassana.
Mm-mm.
Then I'll feel like this. Wait, what's causing it to repel? Is it is it fear? Is it adrenaline that's
Mhm.
rushing through my system? Like stay away.
Mm.
Is it what subconscious pattern is here? And then I start analyzing as opposed to just stay away.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That I agree with that because I said something kind of similar but different words. Like when you get this intense pull, this feeling to do something, you said excited. And then I think also in the book I said that logical thinking. And like a few minutes ago I said, yeah, once you start getting that feel, but you start backing it with logic, and then the fear starts to kick in, and then you don't listen to the intuition or that impulse, then it kind of starts saying like, okay, I don't want to talk. It's kind of like you ignore it, and then I feel that it feels bad when you don't listen to it, your intuition, or I guess they would say your soul. The book The Alchemist talks about it too. He would apologize to his heart, and in the book they say it's the soul of the world and the heart. So Santiago, the main character, would tell his heart, hey, if I ever stray off the path or not listen to you, please don't leave me and remind me. So I would always tell people to do that first, is to apologize to not listening to it your entire life.
Yes.
So you close your eyes and you say, hey, soul or universe or whatever that's you want to believe is higher, and you tell it, if I haven't been listening to you, I want to apologize, and please come back and guide my life.
So I'm going to add to that. Another method, in addition to apologize, but don't judge yourself. I would say, because when you start judging yourself, it's like the double arrow from the Buddha. Do you know the double arrow?
No. What is
From
that?
the Buddha is well, if someone hurts himself with an arrow, well, okay, they're hurt.
Oh,
But
when
then
you
they
pull it
start
out.
getting, when they
Okay.
start feeling judgmental, how did I hurt myself with the arrow? Then you double hurt
Oh,
because
okay.
you're augmenting something that already is bad.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So something that I learned recently was to be grateful. So say, I'm ready to change that pattern.
Yeah.
I acknowledge who I was. This is also the concept of metta. You're perfect exactly as you are right now. So be kind to yourself. This is what the yogis teach us. And be kind to yourself, but also be willing to do something different. Especially if it's completely opposite of what you've ever learned, right?
Wow.
So this is the concept of trusting, because the intuition can lead you to places that feel scary from a chemical perspective. But now it's the time that you listen to your heart. What does the heart say?
Yeah.
So that's another thing I've done is I can't even plan ahead of time, like a week ahead of time. I can't. So I quit
know.
my job last May. I've been like Peru, India, Canada, Germany.
2
Okay,
months
my
ago?
No,
La-
May last year.
Oh, last year. Okay.
I got my brain mapped in Germany with Dr. Joe Dispenza to see what my brain is doing when I'm meditating. Because you can actually get your brain to go from beta, which is like we're in beta, to alpha, which is like when you're having fun or drawing, to theta, like deep state of meditation. Actually, you can even go to gamma, which is like the whole brain is turned on.
Whoa.
But anyway, I got my brain mapped. And the point that I was trying to make is that I go from one place to another, to another, to another. And I have learned to follow my intuition by being in the present moment.
Okay.
Because if I plan ahead of time, this is what I'm going to do, the universe may not be in alignment with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So the other day I went to, like that last month, I went to a retreat with Dr. Joe Dispenza in Mexico. And I just buy one-way tickets now. Literally.
That's
like
cool.
I bought my plane ticket back to Seattle the day before flying to Seattle. And to here, I was literally going to buy a one-way ticket to Thailand. But you require a visa if you do that.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. Yeah. So they need to see you have a flight out.
So you need to have a flight out.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. But that's so against my new my new way of being.
Oh, I understand.
But the reason I do this is because I need to feel the present moment. Like if you say, let's go to the darkroom retreat, right? Like that excites me. I honestly, I don't remember the last time that I was so excited about something. It so excites me to do the darkroom retreat. So of course I'm going to do it. But say it's something similar to that. And I'll say like, maybe. If I don't feel that excited, I may say maybe. And in the moment that I have to choose, then I feel. And then from that feeling, I will either do or don't do. So that's how I follow my intuition.
And I know it's hard for a lot of people.
Oh, it's so hard.
Yeah, because
you need to be surrendering.
Yeah. And some people like to have a plan and certainty.
So, yes.
That's pretty interesting how you were able to do that. If you could do that, then...
Well, if I can become a world champion as an adult from not ever dancing, people can do anything. I mean, literally. People can do absolutely anything. And that is the message that we need to share more. Because so many people are stuck in an old pattern. And their soul, their heart, their intuition is begging for them to do something different.
Yeah.
But perhaps fear or how. The how, that's another lesson I've learned. Don't worry. Actually, my daughter taught me this one. My daughter woke up in an instant. Like she just had a download, kind of similar to you. Like it's funny.
How old's your daughter?
She's 24.
Wow.
Yeah, we're starting a podcast together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Oh, yeah. So she's a little younger than you.
I was surprised. I was like, oh, we're like almost the same age.
Yeah, you're almost the same age. But so she taught me. She went into this meditative state. And when she came out of it, she said that she learned from this beautiful being that had wings.
Wow.
That don't worry about the how. Worry about the what. And a lot of times people worry about how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? But that's not living in the present moment.
Yeah.
And that's not surrendering.
Exactly.
So it's been training yourself, at least for me, to surrender.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think more than training is experiencing. Because you can learn from many different people. Like this conversation, when people listen to it, they perhaps have more data, so they make neurological networks, right? So now they have more data, but it doesn't mean anything until they have the experience of it.
Exactly.
And once you have the experience, you cannot forget that.
Yeah, I remember when I was meditating and I guess consulting about how can I help people to achieve this, and it basically told me that you have to bring them here, like let them meditate with them and bring them here, make them feel it.
You asked your
it.
higher self?
Yeah, like how to do it. And then because I was always trying to think, like there was a time that I was very logical, like you, like very scientific. I didn't believe in anything. didn't
Me
believe
either.
in
I
ghosts,
didn't believe in anything.
spirits.
No, nothing.
I didn't believe. I
It-
believe when you die, you become a tree, and then
I
later.
didn't believe that either.
it-
I
yeah.
didn't believe anything.
Yeah. So.
Like when you die, you die.
Yeah. So like, well, when you die, you become a tree. Like you get buried in the ground, and then
Oh, I
eventually
see.
you become the soil for a tree. Very logical.
Oh, I see.
So sometimes I have compassion for those people, even though if it's logical and you explain it, just like you said, people won't understand it until they experience it.
Exactly.
So
So
then-
how did your guides tell you that?
It told me to do meditation retreats, like have people meditate with me, and then I was like, I'm not
Oh.
ready for that.
No,
yet.
yes.
Let me. I was like,
Yes.
let me get a little older first. I still have fun. Like I like driving fast cars. I like to I don't know. I just want to have fun here first, and then I'll maybe when I'm maybe in a
But
few
why?
years.
Wait. Okay. So that's a limiting belief right there.
Uh-huh.
Why do you think that you can't do both?
I know I could. That's why.
No, it's no. We're
true.
no longer in the time of monks being in caves, man.
Yeah. I like this. Thank you. But yeah, I guess it's because Thailand. Yeah, I guess.
What
it's
about Thailand?
Oh, Thailand is there's since I'm a public figure here, it kind of looks. There's some people that went the spiritual path and just like kind of like a regular person like me and just took a bunch of people's money and kind of just like have very bad reputations.
Oh.
So for me, I'm kind of like, okay, let me chill out on that side first. Yeah, because they made it look bad, but I'll just wait because if I have a lot of friends that are also public figures as well, and they always come to me advice, or sometimes I'll even take them to go meditate on a mountain. But as soon as that becomes a picture and becomes online in Thailand, it starts to look like I'm starting like a little cult like this other person did. So I just kind of I gotta wait it out a little bit, yeah, for the right.
But because
timing.
you are a public speaker, then you already have your audience, right?
Yeah, I
Do
do.
you need to trust that? Okay, so this is another thing. One of my friends that I met in Peru was saying that he would love to become a public speaker. So I'm starting this podcast, right, with you.
Yeah.
And he was saying that he feels that he's afraid of what people may think. And what I was telling him was, sure, that has crossed my mind, especially because the moment that I had this moment of awakening, if you would say, my engineer friends are like, what happened to her, right? And even my family, because I let go of my job. I had a high-paying job, like highly paid. My dance team, I quit my dance team. I gave away my furniture. I sold my home. And people are like, what happened?
Yeah, I
She
know.
was in such a good path.
Yeah, I
But
had everything.
the point is that this is actually the reason why I want to start a podcast is because when I share my story with the people that I know, they don't understand it. So I have to trust that people want to hear the story, but it's just perhaps not the people that are immediately next to me because they don't understand it.
Exactly, yeah.
So my point to you is you don't have that problem because you already have your following.
Yeah.
So as long as you communicate
Yeah.
what you're doing,
you.
people will trust you because they already do.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thank you
if
for the
not,
encouragement.
If not, then you will draw a different crowd.
Yeah.
So anyway, but you follow your intuition.
Thank you. That's beautiful, and that's why women are so good. They're so supportive. Thank you. Yeah, there's yeah. I feel more like willing to do it. There's
Especially
want to
if
do
your
it.
guide told you to do it.
Yeah, I have a plan to do it. Like I'm gonna definitely do it. I used to believe that before I had to write a book, I'd have to be like 50 years old, and then my girlfriend Peach told me, you can do it now. Why you have to wait until you're 50? And then you're kind of doing the same thing to me right now. So that's why I'm seeing the importance of.
But you talk about it in your
Of
book, by
women.
the way. Mastermind.
Yeah.
The Mastermind.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about that for everybody who's listening?
Sure.
So it's the concept of multiple. You're better. When you come together, you're
Yeah.
better than each individual part.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a battery, right? Like one battery gives out this much power, and then if there's another battery that gives the same amount of power, when they come together, they make more than just 1 + 1.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like it's a concept that when we're talking right now, there's kind of like this invisible other brain here helping us work together. So it's important for us to surround ourselves with people that help us think, have ideas, and encourage us. So yeah, I think that was what I talked about for the mastermind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, there's this other concept that's pretty cool, is you kind of just imagine who you want in your mastermind and what they would say. So if I close my eyes and I think I want to talk to Muhammad Ali right now, or Martin Luther King, what would they tell me? And then that's another way you can do a mastermind in your imagination. I think someone said they did that in a book.
Well, this is a very common technique for designing. So I come from the software tech industry.
Wow.
Well, one of the things I come from. But when you are designing something, you put the hat of Walt Disney. How would Disney's brand look like if you designed it for Disney? Versus, how would Steve Jobs design it? How would it look? Suddenly you imagine it being white, right? And clean. Versus Disney is like very colorful and childlike.
What is this called?
It's a technique. I don't remember the name of it. But you can imagine, like, how would it be if Starbucks did it?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you
need
just
to do this.
change well, it's the same concept. It's the exact same concept.
Wow.
But from this perspective, we look at it from the perspective of brands.
Wow.
Like, do you want to be more like Apple? Or do you want to be more like Google? Or do you want to be more like Disney?
Wow. We're recording this, right, Charlie? Okay. Cool.
Oh my gosh, I hope we're freaking recording.